Welcome to Alice Just Alice 55. You're listening to an AI-narrated audiobook version of my original story, The Unclaimed Werewolf, an Unbound Wolves novel, written by Alice N. Smith. Chapter 13, Where Interest Turns Toward Her. Halvar had not felt this kind of luck in years, not the brief kind. Prey found in a hard winter, a rival turning aside at the right moment. This was larger, structural, the sort of shift that made a pack's future tilt in its favor if you were quick enough to seize it. A female, unbound, alive. He had heard the report twice now from two different mouths, and it still sat in him like heat. They were rare. Everyone knew it. The council pretended that scarcity was simply another rule to manage, another tally to track. But Halvar had spent too long keeping a pack fed and intact to pretend it wasn't a resource like any other, except this one had a name, a face, teeth, a will, and that will mattered, because she hadn't come crawling to be placed. She had held ground. A female who could hold territory alone without a recognized pack did not happen by accident. It meant strength, yes, but it also meant something else that was harder to find. Refusal. Halvar liked refusal when it strengthened a pack. He stepped into the longhouse with that thought still on his tongue, warmth spilling from the hearth at the center of the room. Smoke curled toward the rafters, carrying the familiar scents of iron, damp wool, and ash. His pack shifted around him without breaking stride, heads dipping, bodies angling aside. Alpha. The title was never spoken. His son stood near the far wall. Aemon, Halvar's only son, was bent over a rough map spread across a table, scarred with old knife marks. He tapped the wood with 2 fingers, restless, thinking faster than the conversation allowed. He looked up the moment Halvar entered. Good. He felt it. Halvar had trained that awareness into him from childhood. Halvar crossed the room and stopped at the table. Aemon, he said, you've heard. It wasn't a question. Aemon's jaw tightened. I've heard. Halvar's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Then you understand what it means. Aemon straightened, drawing a slow breath through his nose. It means trouble. Halvar laughed, low and genuine. Everything worth having is trouble. She's not a thing to have, Aemon said. There it was. Halvar let the words sit between them. He didn't correct the tone, didn't raise his voice. He leaned forward instead, palms flattening against the table. She is a female without a pack, he said. That makes her visible. It makes her valuable. And it makes her a target. Aemon's eyes sharpened. To who? Halvar's smile faded. To every ambitious alpha within a week's run, he said. And to the council, which is worse. Aemon didn't hesitate. Brooks. Halvar's lip curled faintly. Yes, Brooks delivered the council's message, which means the cycle has started whether she agrees to it or not. Silence stretched. She won't accept it, Aemon said. Halvar lifted a brow. Accept what? The match, Aemon said. Any of it. Halvar studied him more closely then. There was certainty there, too much of it. You've never met her, Halvar said. Aemon looked away. Just for a moment. Halvar noticed. He always noticed. Tell me what you know, Halvar said quietly. Aemon's voice came out rougher than usual. She lives alone. She held territory without marking it like a pack. She doesn't answer challenges. He hesitated, then added, she keeps a dog. Halvar's brows lifted slightly. A dog, he repeated, and she named it. Aemon's gaze flicked back to him. You already knew that. I know what matters, Halvar said. She claims. And she claims something weak. Aemon stiffened. She's not... He stopped himself. Halvar waited. She's not going to be handled, Aemon finished. Halvar straightened. Good. Honest. That, Halvar said, is why you will move quickly, not because she'll be easy, because she won't. Aemon's jaw set. You're asking me to court her. Yes, before another claims her. Before another even gets a foothold, Halvar said. Before Brooks returns with council-backed candidates and turns this into a parade. Aemon's gaze dropped to the map. You think she'd walk away from it? Halvar nodded once. I think she'd move before she bent. Silence settled heavier. Aemon looked up sharply. So, this is about territory. Halvar's smile was unapologetic. This is about everything, he said. Standing, legacy, a future where we aren't always reacting to council decisions made in rooms we aren't allowed into. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. I'm not offering you like tribute, he said. I'm giving you first opportunity. Aemon scoffed softly. As if she'll let me. She doesn't have to like you, Halvar said. She has to accept you. Aemon went very still. This isn't a storybook courtship, Halvar continued. This is a race. You approach her with respect or you die, but you do approach her. And if she refuses, Aemon asked, then you learn, Halvar said. Fast. She's being forced, Aemon said quietly. Yes, Halvar agreed. By everyone but us. Aemon dragged a hand through his hair. How much time? 1 cycle. And if she doesn't choose? Then the council will, Halvar said, and it will be worse. He straightened, letting the full weight of his presence settle. You go to the border, he said. You make yourself visible, and you give her a choice that still feels like hers. Aemon didn't answer. Satisfied, Halvar turned away. She won't thank me for this. Halvar paused at the doorway. No, he said, and she doesn't have to. He looked out into the cold daylight, jaw set, eyes fixed on nothing in particular. I had a mate once, he said. I know what it costs. I also know what it gives. He turned back just enough for Aemon to see his face. Not many are granted that. Fewer keep it. Silence stretched. You're not doing this for thanks, Halvar continued. You're doing it because it's your duty, and if you're strong enough and careful enough, you may earn something precious. He stepped outside, the door closing behind him. Because once a female had been counted, she would not remain unclaimed for long. And Halvar did not intend to lose what opportunity the council had exposed, not when he understood exactly what was at stake.